Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So in this course we're going to be building a Twitter clone. So one of the first features we obviously want to check out is how we can create a tweet here. On another account I have another user open here named Tom, and I can go ahead essentially tag him here and also add a hashtag. If I go ahead and tweet this now, you can go ahead and see that it's automatically gone ahead and highlighted his username here, along with the ability to see the hashtag highlight here. Now, later on, we're going to be creating a hashtag page as well. For now, I've left this out just to get started with the course and so we can get started building it, because there's a lot of work here to cover. So if I, for example, went in here and retweeted Tom's tweet on this side, you can go ahead and see here that it has retweeted it here. You can see that it's retweeted by Tom. There's a notification here saying he's retweeted my tweet as well. And I can go ahead and like this. It will automatically show up over here. And if I went in here, for example, I can go in and say I want to view this tweet. And I could say, hello. And there you go. So now we have the ability here to actually reply to tweets and view them. We also have the ability to, for example, go into someone's page here, and in here I could go ahead and follow Tilly Dakota. So if I go in now, you can see that I already have a follower here. It shows up in the notification setting as well. On top of that, I can go ahead and change my name here, for example. I could go ahead and change the banner image. So if I wanted to change my logo to just this Laravel icon here, it goes ahead and automatically updates it. Obviously this doesn't look great, but it's just the picture for showcase here. So this is not the best picture to upload. But outside of that, we're also able to add in a link here. So I could, for example, go ahead and say youtube.com. I can go ahead and change the bio. And I'm also able to, for example, in here, go ahead and upload an image. So let's go ahead and upload an image for this page here. So let's say hi. And you can see this just automatically shows up on both pages here if you want to take a look. We could also go ahead, for example, and quote a tweet. So if I wanted to quote this one, for example, saying, what's up? Goes ahead and quote this here, and you can now see that this is also added over here automatically. We're also going to be adding a feature here to just copy a URL. And we're going to be using infinitive scroll here as well for if we have a lot of tweets. On top of that, we're going to be later on looking on how to add views to individual tweets and so on. But there's a lot to get covered already, so let's get started with this and start by building the sidebar in this first video. Alright, so in this video we're going to be setting up the basic for the X-clones. We're going to call this X-clone YouTube. And I'm going to use Jetstream here because it allows you to upload easily profile picture and has all of that set up by default. We're going to use Livewire. We do want to enable dark mode because we're going to be using that. Email verification is going to be supported as well. We don't need team or API support. We don't really need to write any tests for this. However, I'm just going to select PES as default and we will initialize a GitHub repository. So with that sorted, we should now be able to go ahead in here and select the database driver. I'm going to use PostgreSQL, and I'm not going to migrate it because it won't work due to my database configurations. And now we've just run npm install, and after that I think we can just head into the browser now. So let's hit, into the code editor now. So let's head into the code editor and get started with that. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead in here and I'm gonna set up, this is xclone yt. I'm gonna head into my database editor here. I'm gonna create a new table. Let's open it up. Alright, so with that sorted, we should be able to now go ahead in here and say PHP Artisan migrate. And let's go ahead now and say PHP Artisan install broadcast. We would like to install Reverb for this case, and we're just gonna wait for this to be set up, and we would also like it to install all the node dependencies. So what we should have now down here is we need to go ahead and change this, in this case, to on the host, we're gonna call this x clone yt.test, and we're just gonna leave it at http, and we'll leave these details as well because that's already set up here. So that's already fine here, and I think that's everything for the configuration for now. So when we go further into this, I want to actually go ahead and enable a few things. So let's head into Jetstream to PHP, and down here I want to go ahead and enable profile photos as a starter. So with that sorted, let's go in now and do PHP Artisan make Livewire pages home, and then inside the home page, this is where we're gonna have everything related to timeline and so on. So we want to have in here a layout, and inside web.php we can actually get rid of all of this here, even this part here. So and I'm gonna import this instead. Let's do npm run dev. So the first problem here is that we have this navigation bar that we don't actually need. So if we head into our app, blade.php, in here we do not need these set up like that. We can just get rid of that. The Livewire scripts is fine. We can get rid of pretty much everything in here for now. So what we want to go ahead in here and do is we want to add a few classes here. So let's head into here, and we want to have two things. We want to have a sidebar, but we also want a div in here with a flex row, and justify center. And slot in here. We can get rid of this banner here, so I also want to go ahead and get rid of the models for now because we're going to have a different system set up for that. We want to go in here and we want to have a div in here, container, mx auto, height of screen, and a flex. And in here we just want to have BG white and dark, background color dim 900, and we want to add that color to our Tailwind config file. So I'll copy and paste this in so you can easily have it here. So we're gonna modify the theme a bit because we don't need the standard Laravel theme for this. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace it with this here. There we go. And with that now done, we should now be able to use the dim color instead as well for our styles. So I'm just gonna go in here and say Twitter or X, is up to you really. I'm just gonna call it Twitter. And yeah, so that's the layout setup, and we should now just be able to go in here. You can see there's this nice color here. And outside of that, we want to go ahead now inside our home component in Livewire here. We can get rid of the welcome here. We can get rid of the dashboard and navigation menu. In here, I just want to put in some classes as well. So I want to go in here and have a width full, a small with 600, and a height of screen. And after that, I'm gonna go ahead and add all these classes here to another div. With that done, we want to go ahead in here and add in just the home text here. Just like that. It looks a bit unaligned here due to the sidebar not being set up, but we'll set that up in a minute. So let's head in now and create a component here. PHP artisan make Livewire components folder. And in here we want to have a sidebar. So in the sidebar, we're gonna have a few different items. So first div here needs to be a class of flex row, and justify center. And then we want to have a width of 68, an extra small width of 88, an extra large width of 275. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy these classes here instead. And then we want to go ahead in here and have another class here of flex column, height of screen, and we also want to go ahead and say XL, PR3, fixed, and overflow Y auto. And again, we want to have some width here. And then let's go ahead and add the Twitter link. This is just an SVG icon here, which you can find easily online. So I'll leave you to find whatever icon you want. We also need to add this into our app.play.php. There we go. And let's go ahead now and add in the other links. So for now, I'm just going to add in the home link here because we can add the other links later on. So let's add a nav here with an empty of 5. So we just want to set this to route home. We're adding all of these classes in here. Again, you can find the icon online for whatever home icon you want. We're adding a text here which is going to be shown for larger screens. Just like that. And later on we also need to add in the sidebar down here at the bottom. So let's go ahead and do that now. So the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and create a blade component. And we're going to call this sidebar item. So inside sidebar item, we want to have a few different things set up. As a starter, we want to make sure that we can check pass through the URL. So let's go ahead and say props. In this case, we're going to have URL and active by default set to false. Now for classes, I'm just going to go ahead and add those in here. So it's going to be these classes here that we need. This is just going to be whether it's active or not. We're going to show a difference between these classes. And then outside of that, we just want an anchor tag in here. And in here, we just want to pass through the URL. We want wire navigate. And we want attributes, merge, class, and this actually needs to be inside an array, sorry, class equals to classes. And then in here, because we have icons as well, we want a slot. So what we can go ahead and do now is inside the sidebar, we can go ahead and say sidebar item. We can pass through the URL here instead. Get rid of all these classes here. And then inside our sidebar, we just need to check if it's active. So there's multiple ways we can check if something is active. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and we can just quickly add this variable here, which allows us to say request while it is home. And in that case, it will then show us active. So right now we have this navigation sidebar here for the home, but let's also create a few other ones here. So we're going to have a profile page and we're going to have a notifications page. So let's go ahead and create the notifications page for now, because that's the easiest one to set up. So let's go ahead and say PHP Addison, Livewire, make pages, notifications, inside web.php. And again, we're just setting this up for now, so let's just create a notification page here. We're just gonna have an empty page called notifications. And then in here, we just want to do the same as we did inside the home page. Just add in the layout here. And return a view. So for now, what we should be able to do inside the sidebar then is just go in and check if it is the notifications page. And for this, we do want to go ahead and add a different SVG icon. Again, these icons will be available on source code as well, which you can just access for free online on my GitHub repository. And you can see we can now switch between them here. So that now allows us to essentially have multiple pages here. We're going to add in a profile page as well, which is pretty much the same, just a different SVG icon. And we're passing through the user here. So inside our terminal, let's create a page called profile. Perfect. And then what we want to go ahead and do inside web.php is just create one in here where we say profile user username. And we just want to import profile here. We want to return a view. We want to have a public user. Then inside the create users table, do make sure that we also add in a username, which is going to be unique. And we also inside the create users table want to add a few different things. So other things we want to add in here is a website, because you may have a website on your profile page, which is going to be nullable. We're going to have a text in here for description, which is going to be nullable. And we're also going to have in here the ability to, for example, add in date of birth or location. So let's just leave it with this for now. And we could also go ahead and add in a banner URL actually. So banner path. So refresh it again. There we go. And inside the sidebar here, let's go ahead and make sure that we name this web root. profile.show. And inside sidebar here, just make sure we add that in here. We need to log in again and register. So that leaves us with the next thing we need to deal with. How do we customize the registration process to add in the username? We should just be able to go in here and say username, and then just add user in front of here. Like that. And then inside our app folder, inside actions, we have a just Fortify, where we create new user. And in here, we're gonna have a username. We're gonna have this unique to the users table as well. Let's make sure we fix the spacing issue as well in here. So that's because the other ones have an empty of 4. And also, not just in here, we don't just want to validate it, we also want to add it in here. So if we refresh again, let's try to register again. Oh, we also want to add the username to the user model. There we go. So that will give us the dashboard page. So let's go ahead to our Fortify.php. In here we have a redirect. Let's get it to redirect to the home page instead. There we go. So at the moment, that doesn't look fully right inside the profile page. That's fine. We don't really want to work on that for now. We're just going to leave that out. But we have a nice sidebar now. The only thing missing is going to be the sidebar login part, essentially, where we can log out. So to do that, we want to go in and actually install the Alpine anchor directive. So we can just go ahead and npm install this. This will allow us to have an anchor that is a bit more useful than other functionalities that you would find normally. So inside app.js, we want to import this here. So we need to essentially import Livewire and Alpine as well. And we need to say livewire.start. And then inside app.blade.php, we get rid of this bit here. And the only thing we need is essentially in here is the script config. So let's look at our terminal here. There's no errors so far, which is excellent. That's what we're expecting. So inside our sidebar now, we should be able to add in this button at the bottom here. So let's go ahead and do that now. So in here we want to have a div where x data of open to false. And we also want in here, if you click outside, we want to set this to false. And we want to add these specific classes here. And And then we want to go in and add a button here. In here we want to actually say xref button, and on click we want open to be the opposite, equal to the opposite of the open value. And in this case we want to add up here just user that is logged in, the name and the username. And we then want to add a sidebar, which is going to be hidden unless you actually want to show it. So let's go ahead and add that now. So because we've set this now with an open up here, if we just close this button here, we should just be able to have a div in here where we say x show open. And in this case, let's just have some random text in here, see if we can get this to work. And let's also make sure that this is a class with a bg white, just to make sure we can see what's actually going on. So for now, it's not really showing, so let's go ahead and make sure that everything is set up properly. We also need to add in the icon also in here, which I forgot to add. So let's go ahead. This is just another SVG icon. Yeah, so the text is showing. It needs some good styling, but it is showing now. So what we should be able to do is add a few classes in here that will create like something that will flow over it or below it, depending on the size of the screen. Let's add this onto a new line as well. And also we want to have the anchor functionality set up here. So we can just go ahead in here and have this set up like this, where we just reference the button up here that we created here. And let's go ahead and take a look at how this would look now. Looks a bit better, still a bit awkward to read. So let's go in here and add a width full with a BG wide. Oh, sorry, with text wide, sorry. Log out. There we go. Again, this is not the most beautiful option you can do. You can create something more appropriate looking if you want to. So we can go ahead now inside our app here. We do have as well in here we have some components. So we should just be able to add in the similar thing that we have from the logout button other places into here. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we should just be able to add in the logout route here, and this may look a little bit weird at first, so let's go ahead and see. So far it looks fine. So if I click logout, it now goes back here. So what we want to go ahead and do now is say login. And there we go. So now we are able to log out, able to switch between pages here. So we will now next work on how to actually compose the treat. So let's take a look at that in the next episode.